For more than 50 years, Lourdes has been the place to receive a quality, values-centered education. With numerous bachelor and master degree programs, a renowned faculty, and one of the lowest private tuition rates in the entire state, Lourdes is the place for you. Come on, discover a place where you matter. Discover a new you. Discover Lourdes University.
In 1916, here in Toledo, Bishop Schrems of the Toledo Diocese was having trouble finding teachers for the Polish children in North Toledo. Problems with the language. There weren't enough people that could speak Polish. So in Winona, Minnesota, the Sisters of St. Francis had an order in a convent, and they were mostly Polish women. So the bishop asked if they could send some sisters to Toledo to help teach the Polish children in Toledo. And so in 1916, 23 sisters joined Mother Adelaide Sandusky to come here. They met with the bishop. They took up residence in the convent at St. Hedwig's Parish in North Toledo and started teaching children in the parish there. A flu epidemic broke out. They found themselves pulled into nursing. As the sisters saw a need, these women that, perhaps they were artists, perhaps they were scientists, perhaps they were teachers, nursing, whatever the need was, they seemed to be able to delve into so many other areas. Well, a year after they came to Toledo in 1917, they were still under the Mother House in Winona, Minnesota, and they asked Mother Adelaide to see if she could find something a little more permanent for them to reside. So she went around, she looked at where the casino is now in Rossford, and even at that point it was rather industrialized. She looked where the Flower Hospital currently is built. She didn't like that. So the sisters had a lot of stories, and we believe most of them. This story was that Mother Adelaide was being driven in a Stutz Bearcat. She was driving down Silica, which is on the western boundary of Lourdes University. It was a mud road, it had been rainy, and the car got stuck. And so she thought this was divine providence, and she looked to her left, and there were 3 farms. So in 1917, the sisters in Winona, Minnesota purchased these 3 farms, 89 acres, and that is the historic campus of Lourdes University. Mother Adelaide did not quite know what they were going to do with this property. They thought it could be a park. They thought they could raise some animals, they could raise some crops. The soil was very sandy, so farming was not exactly a successful venture. So she went to the State of Ohio Department of Agriculture and asked them if she could have some pine seedlings, because this was a flat land, no trees were on it. They gave her 1,000 pine seedlings. So if you go to our campus and you see these tall, old pine trees, those are some of the seedlings that Mother Adelaide got way back in the 1920s. So they decided that they would build a couple wooden structures, and they built Alverno Hall, the first Alverno Hall, which housed a gym, which housed a stage. They started to recruit young girls into the convent. They founded St. Clair Academy, which was a high school for young girls, high school girls, very similar to Notre Dame, St. Ursula, except it was just for young girls entering the convent, and many young girls entered the convent out of 8th grade. The first building on the Lourdes campus that they built, the permanent building, was St. Clair Hall, and that they broke ground for that in 1929. And of course, then the stock market crashed. Another occurrence was there's a river, a stream running under our campus. As the rains came in the spring, the walls collapsed on the foundation. So the sisters did not know what to do. They were having a very hard time paying their bills. They often say that when a bill would come, they would pray and an envelope would be delivered with money. Mother Adelaide decided that they were having a hard time paying the note that they were holding, and the bank was holding the note was in Chicago. The banker had a reputation of not being a very nice man. Mother Adelaide with another sister took the train to Chicago. She met with the banker, and not only did he give her more favorable terms, he also gave him lunch money. Now, Mother Adelaide had made a promise to our Lord saying if she got more favorable terms, she would build the Portiuncula. It's a little chapel on the western side of Lourdes University's campus. It's an exact replica of a chapel that is in the San Damiano Cathedral in Assisi. And it is a church that the Benedictines gave to St. Francis. St. Francis had a dream that the Lord told him to rebuild his church. So when the Benedictines gave him this run-down, dilapidated chapel, he thought this is what our Lord meant, so he rebuilt it. So what Mother Adelaide did is she built a replica, and it is exactly like the original in Assisi, of the Portiuncula. I don't know where she got the money for that because obviously finances were a problem at that time. But they did build St. Clair Hall, and it was the first permanent building of Lourdes University. So as time went on, St. Clair Academy thrived. In 1949, they built Duns Scotus Hall. It wasn't Duns Scotus Library, it was Duns Scotus Hall. It was a reading room and a library for the sisters. Again, it's a beautiful building. Up until recently, it was not air conditioned, so it was almost unusable in the summer. So in 1949, they built this reading room, the library. Mother Adelaide was a woman of vision. And so she wanted to take these young girls that went to St. Clair Academy High School and wanted them to continue their education here on campus. So in 1958, Lourdes Junior College was founded, and it offered 2-year associate degrees to sisters or to women who wanted to join the convent. Mother Adelaide didn't want to found a 4-year baccalaureate institution because she wanted the sisters to go out into the community. And much like St. Francis did not go up to his tower or the mountain to pray and stay there. He went out among the people. And that's what the Franciscans are known for, is being among the people. 2-year community college, a high school for young girls, Mary Mance. Many of you, if you are from the Toledo area originally, know of Mary Mance College. It was founded by the St. Ursuline sisters. It was on Collingwood Boulevard across from Scott High School. When it closed, the young women really didn't have any place to go. So in 1969, Lourdes Junior College was open to lay women, which was a big move. It was about that time that St. Clair Academy was also closing. They were finding that even in the 60s, the numbers were kind of dwindling in terms of the number of young girls that were coming into the convent out of high school. So St. Clair Academy closed, and Lourdes Junior College was open for lay women in 1969. In 1975, men were invited to join, and you can imagine what that was. There was a lot of conversation about men joining Lourdes Community College, but there was a lot of renovation that had to take place. So back in 1979, to convert to a co-ed institution was a big, big decision for the sisters. It wasn't until 1982 that Lourdes became a 4-year degree granting institution, granting baccalaureate degrees in some of the arts and sciences, nursing, education. These were the fields that the sisters knew so well because they came from teaching, they came from nursing. And so as those programs grew, Lourdes grew, but it was still a quiet gem in the community, a hidden gem. The population of Lourdes were all adult students, what we call non-traditional students. They did not come right out of high school. There were no residence halls, there were no athletics, and there were no student clubs, student government. There weren't any of those kind of activities because all of the adults that were coming, they were popping in at night, driving up to their building, which was, by then we had just two buildings. We had Mother Adelaide Hall that was constructed in the late 60s, and construction was ended in 1965. Mother Adelaide passed away in 1964 at the age of 89. So there were only two buildings, but you could pull your car right up to it, and there wasn't much activity on campus because these people had jobs, they had lives, they had children, and we weren't recruiting full-time students. They were all part-time, and maybe it took them 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 years. Some people, it took them 12 years to finish, but I truly admire these people for having the conviction that they can do this, taking 1 or 2 courses at a time. Well, it's very different now. In the 50s and 60s, there were probably 500 or 600 members of the Sisters of St. Francis in Sylvania, Ohio. There are about 160 now. As the number of sisters were dwindling, the administration and the staff and faculty of Lourdes College then was mostly sisters and converting over to lay people. So the sisters were in the majority of the administration until the year 2000. Some of you may know Sister Anne Frances Klimkowski. She became president and was president for 17 years, ending her tenure in that position in 2000. At that point, the sisters made another big decision, and they brought in a lay president, Dr. George Matthews. At that time, Lourdes was still the hidden gem. People didn't know about it. If the Blade was running an article on higher education, they never thought to call Lourdes. People in Sylvania frequently did not know about Lourdes College. The 3 years that George was there, it really brought Lourdes out to the community. So with Dr. George Matthews, we really grew the presence of Lourdes in the community, encouraging people to sit on boards, encouraging people to visit. Also at this time, we were adding graduate programs. And our first graduate program was a Master's in Organizational Leadership. We also have additional master's programs. We have 4 colleges now. One is Arts and Sciences, Business and Human Services, Education, and Nursing. We also have a graduate school. So going back, we were developing master's programs in early 2000. Then we got another new president in 2003, and that was Dr. Robert Helmer. He had been at Lourdes University, he was on the faculty, he had a couple other positions, but he became president in 2003. He was a wonderful individual. He really brought a lot of things to Lourdes. For several years, we had been increasing tuition a lot. And so we decided that with enrollment decreasing, the deficit increasing, that we needed to do something about it. So what we did was we decreased our tuition by 41%, but just for full-time students. 95% of our students were part-time, but with the increase to that 5%, and our enrollment just shot up. And it was a wonderful way to start bringing in young people. This Lourdes is still a place for non-traditional students. It is still a place for adult students, people going back to school. But now we have kids, and now it's a little more difficult to find a parking spot. Our enrollment has gone from about 1,100 back in 2003 to about 2,500, which is a remarkable growth. In Europe, many times colleges are what we call high schools. So just to get more of a clarification of what Lourdes is, we changed our name to university. And also, if you notice, some of the community colleges are dropping community. So Owens Community College frequently refers to themselves as Owens College. So we wanted to make sure people knew that we are a full-fledged university. So we were adding in 2005, 2006, 2007 athletics, adding residential. We bought the property, Wickford Woods. If any of you know where that apartment complex is, it is behind Sylvan Square, which is the strip mall at the corner of Brent and McCord. Everyone at Lourdes can get a tutor in any subject for no charge. And that is, if anything is the heart and soul of Lourdes, that's it. We then built a dining hall, 3 meals a day, 7 days a week. It is open to the public, and the food is fabulous. Now, sports, we have men's and women's volleyball, men's and women's basketball, men's and women's golf, men's and women's lacrosse. We're going to add soccer. We have baseball, we have softball, we have cheer and dance. And in the short time that we have been in athletics, our men's basketball team has gone to national championships 3 times. Now, we're in NAIA, we're not in NCAA, and we're not in March Madness in the Final Four, unfortunately. But what a tribute to these young people. Our women's volleyball is going to national championships. Our cheer and dance went to national championships. Our women's lacrosse are going to national championships. So we have wonderful coaches that are recruiting young people that are students first. We have students that have 4.0s. We have a lot of students that have 2.0s. But if they're willing to work, we're willing to support them through the Academic Support Center. We have over 20% of our students are minorities. Over 60% are first-generation college students. We are changing not only students' lives, but changing lives for generations.